I never did. I flat out said in my book that Kathy's father was abusive. So how was I diminishing her pain? But she'll diminish mine every possible way.
Okay, I'm going to address that because you know for a fact, and so does many, many others that I have said, that you have lied in your book. You lied about everything. In fact, I think I got to that part before I stopped. You lied about everything. You're lying about my father, and you're lying about me saying anything like that about him. I'm going to just say this for anyone else, for everyone else. The only reference to anybody that I've ever said that was cruel and so abusive was my grandfather. My mother's father was an evil, evil man. And the way my mother fought and came back is the very reason I am here. I am trying to stop you from tarnishing the good that she showed and taught us. And you're doing everything in your evil power to tear down what was built up, what beauty came from something so terrible, and the strength that was given to us by watching. I've said this before, just from being blessed enough to have been raised by her, you should feel honored that you got to even be a part of her life. And you're not. You've taken a lot of her life, her story, and made it your own. The sad thing is, she was victorious over it. She raised most of, well, listen, we were raised not to remain the victim, to push forward. There was a strength that she had, that she passed on. That is why I fight so hard, or just come back on here, make a fool out of myself to get the truth known, because it's the legacy she left me and my family. And you're doing everything to turn it into some ugly, ugly sequel. There has never been, I wouldn't even be on here if it weren't for you doing what you're doing. I've never said my father was abusive. My grandfather was. I've never said that anything in my life was worse or better or anything compared to anyone else's. Did I have struggles? Yes. Would I talk about it to you? Never. Did I learn by watching my mother how to hold my head up, to be proper, to be victorious, to know that I could overcome? I did. Sad you didn't. You have fought so hard to be the victim of the world. And that would have been fine with me. You could have done that. And I wouldn't have said a word. You could have continued what you were doing. But then, when you tarnished my mother, and then you trashed my daughter in your little shit paper pamphlet, and my father, you trashed the very precious gifts you were given. That's when I had to say something. So at times, I try not to get heavy on here, or because that's not something I want to leave behind. And the only time I have ever said anything about the pain I suffer is the loss of my daughter. Now, you can twist and turn it any way you want, but I promise you, you have no idea that pain. I can't And I've said before, the closest you for you not having your weed for the day is your pain. That's the worst thing you've ever experienced. So, yesterday I just was deeply troubled, and I started to make a video that I probably would have regretted. And for some reason, my iPad just would not even let me hit the button. It wouldn't record. It wouldn't do anything. So that was a good thing. So I was able to. I just went to sleep. I just kept thinking about how, I can't get through to you. YouTube won't do anything about you. Um, Legally, I mean, at this time in our life, it's just not something I want to pay to have you to hush, and I don't believe you would anyway. I believe you would go against any court order. Uh, so, but it was a good thing I couldn't do it yesterday. But like I've said, you won't, and you can't prove anything. And you know what? It came to me yesterday. The reason you don't want to hear my voice is I sound a lot like my mom. I noticed that one day when I was going through a video, and sometimes when I laugh at something, I hear my daughter, and that's what bothers you, is because you're denying everything and lying, and you don't want to hear her voice, and you don't want to hear it coming from me. Well, that's too bad, because I'm here, and I will continue to dig for the truth, to show it. Actual proof, Mary, not garbage. I will not allow you to be the last voice heard. So you better understand that. You better really understand. You will not be the last word on my mother, my daughter, my life, my family at all.